"You saved me," the man whispered, his voice trembling as tears streamed down his face. His once arrogant demeanor had crumbled into raw vulnerability. He looked up at the figure standing over him, a man he had belittled and insulted so many times. "Why would you help someone like me?" The answer came softly, but with the weight of truth. "Because it's the right thing to do." Before we dive deeper into this emotional story, let us know where you're watching from today. And if stories of courage, resilience, and kindness inspire you, don't forget to subscribe to Story Dash, because tomorrow we'll share another life-changing tale. Jamal Carter's days followed a predictable rhythm. Wake up early, kiss his wife and daughters goodbye, load up his delivery van, and drive through the wealthy neighborhoods of the city. Jamal didn't mind the hard work. His job was stable, and he was proud to provide for his family. But what he did mind was how invisible he often felt. Or worse, the way some people went out of their way to make him feel unwelcome. None did this better than Thomas Whitmore, a man whose home seemed to be permanently fixed on Jamal's route. Whitmore was a middle-aged executive who wore his power like a badge of honor. He loved reminding people he was in charge, and Jamal was no exception. "You people never seem to get it right," Whitmore sneered one afternoon as Jamal delivered a package. "You're late, again. Maybe I should call your supervisor. Make sure they hire someone who understands punctuality." Jamal clenched his jaw but didn't respond. He had learned long ago that answering back would only escalate situations like these. Instead, he nodded, apologized, and got back into his van, driving off while Whitmore stood there shaking his head in disapproval. The encounters became a dreaded routine for Jamal. Each time he approached Whitmore's sprawling house, he braced himself for another dose of disdain. But nothing could have prepared him for the day everything changed. It was a sweltering summer afternoon, and Jamal's van was packed to the brim with deliveries. As he pulled into Whitmore's driveway, he immediately noticed something was off. The garage door was open, but the space inside was eerily quiet. Then he saw it, a faint wisp of smoke curling out from the back of the garage. His instincts kicked in. Jamal jumped out of the van and rushed toward the smoke. As he got closer, he heard coughing, a deep, ragged sound that sent a chill down his spine. "Help!" The voice was weak, but unmistakable. It was Whitmore. Jamal didn't hesitate. He darted into the smoky garage, where he found Whitmore slumped against the wall near an electrical panel that had caught fire. The flames were small but growing rapidly, and the air was thick with smoke. "Mr. Whitmore," Jamal shouted, kneeling beside him. "We need to get you out of here." Whitmore's eyes fluttered open, filled with panic and disbelief. "You? What are you doing here?" Jamal didn't bother answering. He grabbed Whitmore's arm and slung it over his shoulder, hoisting him up with surprising strength. The man was heavier than he looked, and every step toward the open air felt like a battle. But Jamal didn't stop until they were both safely outside. Once on the lawn, Whitmore collapsed onto the grass, coughing uncontrollably. Jamal quickly ran back into the garage, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and doused the flames before they could spread further. By the time the fire department arrived, the situation was under control. Whitmore sat in stunned silence, watching as Jamal spoke with the firefighters. He couldn't process what had just happened. The man he had belittled, insulted, and dismissed so many times had risked his life to save him. When Jamal finally approached him, Whitmore's voice was barely a whisper. "Why?" he asked, his tone a mix of confusion and gratitude. "Why would you help someone like me?" Jamal looked at him for a long moment before answering. "Because it's the right thing to do," he said simply, turning back to his van. The incident left Whitmore shaken. For days he replayed the scene in his mind. Each time he felt a deep sense of shame. He had prided himself on his success, on his ability to command respect, but Jamal's actions had exposed a truth he couldn't ignore. His success had come at the expense of his humanity. Determined to make amends, Whitmore tracked down Jamal's contact information and called him. At first, Jamal was reluctant to engage. He wasn't interested in an apology. It wouldn't erase the years of disrespect. But Whitmore was persistent, eventually convincing Jamal to meet him for coffee. When they sat across from each other, Whitmore struggled to find the right words. "I don't know where to start," he admitted. "I've been horrible to you and I don't expect you to forgive me. But I need you to know I'm sorry." Jamal studied him carefully. "Why now?" he asked. "What's changed?" Whitmore sighed, his gaze dropping to the table. "That day in the garage, it made me realize how blind I've been. You didn't have to help me, but you did. And it forced me to see myself for who I really am. I want to change, Jamal. I need to change." Whitmore didn't stop at words. He began volunteering at community organizations, using his resources to support underprivileged families. He also implemented diversity and inclusion programs at his company, ensuring that people from all backgrounds had opportunities to succeed. Jamal, meanwhile, continued his work, but something had shifted. He no longer dreaded his deliveries to Whitmore's home. Their interactions became genuine, even friendly, and over time, Jamal saw that Whitmore's transformation was real. Months later, Whitmore invited Jamal and his family to a company gala where he was being honored for his philanthropic efforts. Standing at the podium, Whitmore spoke openly about his journey. "There was a time when I thought kindness was a weakness," he said. "But Jamal showed me it's the greatest strength we have. He didn't just save my life, he changed it." The audience erupted in applause, but Whitmore's eyes were fixed on Jamal, who sat in the crowd with his wife and daughters. Jamal felt a mix of pride and humility. He hadn't sought recognition, but seeing the ripple effect of his actions was deeply moving. This story reminds us that even the smallest acts of kindness can spark profound change. Jamal's courage and compassion transformed not only Whitmore's life, but also the lives of countless others. Have you ever experienced a moment where kindness overcame prejudice? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Story Dash for more inspiring tales.